All right, welcome everyone to the first inaugural Rapid Copy Method Workshop. We are live right now, and if you're watching the recording, thanks for being here, and thanks for joining and getting it. So, as you can see, we've got a lot of people on live here. The intent for today is to show you a method of getting a lot of copy out on the page very, very quickly so that you can either move forward with an offer, like you can take it as is and put it out, or you can start refining, start reworking, start editing, and come out with a really polished piece after you've got that first draft. Because I think most people will agree that when you're a writer, getting past that first line, getting past that empty page, getting past those ideas is probably the hardest part of writing. Once you get rolling, then you're better able to see where you want to go. You're better able to have a conversation. You're better able to analyze your ideas and see whether or not you like them or not. Because if you don't, then you can go back. In general, it's better to have something to work with and better to go fast, especially in the beginning, than it is to be really slow in the beginning and thoughtful. Editing is always possible, right? And some of you guys are working professional copywriters where speed is literally valuable for you. The faster you do your work, the better that work is. And the faster you're doing it, the more you get paid. In general, the more valuable your service is. Even if you're only getting paid the same amount per piece, if you can do twice as many pieces, you get paid twice as much and you don't have to work twice as hard because you're doing it faster. So this is very valuable for different reasons, but in my opinion, the biggest reason is getting over that hump of a blank page. Now, what this is not is getting the absolute perfect, completely done, final draft sales letter in a couple hours. That is not what we're going to do here. If you are okay with putting out copy that is less polished, for example, like an email or a Google Doc or something where the quality, the design, all that kind of thing is not necessarily the selling point, then this can give you a workable draft in these hours. One of the things that I did to kind of prove the point is I used the method, or at least the speed of the method, to sell this program. I had an idea, I executed on it with the research, I wrote the Google Doc for it, I made the Google Doc into a long form email, and then I just kept sending it out. So what the people who are here, the people who paid for this program and the people who are interested in joining it from the mentorship program are here because of a rapid copy method sales letter. Okay, so that's the context. Everybody makes sense? Go ahead and type in the chat just so I know that everybody can. And like Thomas asked earlier, there will be a break around noon, which is for me noon for me. So that's 2 hours from now. And we'll probably take about 15 minutes at that point. And I'm going to be stopping and starting the recording periodically so that I can section things out easier in post. I'm going to keep up the meeting chat. So we've got that as well. But next steps are getting in and sharing screen. So once you guys see it, let me know. I'm gonna have chat down here. Boston, calling in from Boston. Awesome. All right. Welcome to the rapid copy method. You guys know why you're here, and the recording people know what they bought. So we're gonna go right into the pieces. And again, I'm gonna be kind of like letting people in here. So if I go into a spiel and then pause, it's because other people are joining. These are the pieces. You can write them down if you want, or you can just kind of accept them as they come, but these are the pieces of the rapid copy method. We're gonna do a extremely truncated and very targeted version of my Big Four research. That's why part of the pre-work was refreshing you guys on what the Big Four means to me. To reiterate, because I have this content for free on YouTube, I teach it in a little bit more advanced level with my current mentorship group. The Big Four method is essentially your target market avatar as represented by a real human being, or the closest you can get to a real human being as possible. That's your first part. Then their primal stuff, their subconscious primal drives, their primal fears, their primal desires, their core needs, things like that, that are driving this human person, this avatar. You've defined who they are, and then you figure out what is making them tick. That's the second part of the Big Four. The third part of the Big Four is market awareness level. which is in general where your avatar is mentally when they are thinking about the problem or the issue that they're trying to solve or the thing that your product does for them. Okay, that's market awareness. And then market sophistication. Market sophistication has everything to do with how your avatar is interacting with the competitive messages in your marketplace, what your competition is saying, what your market or what your target market believes about the other offers, and et cetera, right? So that is the big four. Is anybody who is here live not understand or get the big four from a very high level perspective? Let me know in the chat. Looks like I'm not seeing any like no's to keep going over it. So everybody is clear on the big four, at least from a high level right now. Sweet. Then we're going to be talking about the headline complex, which in my opinion is, and in a lot of copywriters' opinion, 80% of the effectiveness of a sales message, because it involves getting the person's attention. Then we're going to go into the lead, which is getting them bought into reading the rest of the copy or the sales message. We're going to go in the body copy, which is designed to build desire and reduce objections. And then finally, the offer stack, which is making the offer that you're giving them as urgent and interesting and valuable as possible. That's it. So any questions on this before we move on? Nothing? All right, next steps. So the number one objection that I hear when talking to people who either haven't written copy for a while or are learning copy or somewhat newer to the craft is that nobody writes long form sales letters anymore specifically. Not only is that untrue, you see long form sales letters in a lot of different e-commerce pages, especially one-off product pages. You see long form sales letters in Kickstarters. You can see long form copy in all of these things: webinars, video sales letters, sales pages, like online and offline, direct mail, even email can have a long form sales letter in it, because you can have thousands of words in an email as long as like people are paying attention. Advertorials, YouTube ad scripts. Now, the longer form YouTube ad scripts like podcast VSLs and things like that are getting penalized a little bit. So shorter form ads on YouTube are more likely to be successful, but they're still there. Facebook video scripts can be as long as you want, both for ads and content, e-commerce stores in general, white papers and reports, and all those types of things that are valuable downloads. Kickstarters, like I said, all of this is long form copy. All of this has the exact same structure as a long form sales letter, because a sales letter was designed to take a human being from not paying attention to interested in buying a product. And that is why the structure works. It doesn't mean that you have to adhere to every piece of the structure. It doesn't mean that it has to look a certain way. It just means that those things are there for a reason in the chain of persuasion and in the chain of action. So hopefully everybody is on the same page and agrees with that particular thing. The second thing is, if you're thinking about attention span, like people's attention spans are so short these days, right? You see these articles about how the human attention span is less than a goldfish. It's that the human attention span is shrinking over time. And you have 8 seconds. Most people don't pay attention to anything for 8 seconds. That's actually a bullshit statistic. Pardon my French, right? The reason that people are saying that a human being's attention span is 8 seconds is that happens to be the average of all the different things that they are paying attention to, which means if they pay attention to, or if they are exposed to 1,000 things in a day, then the vast majority of those things get exactly 0 attention, or possibly 0.1 milliseconds of attention. You have 950 things in a day that they don't pay attention to, and they have 50 things that they pay a lot of attention to. And that's why that thing is so skewed. When you find the average, this is why you never want to cross a river that is an average of 3 feet deep. Okay. It puts you at risk of massive issues. So don't get hung up on the attention span thing. Attention span is as long as it needs to be if you are interesting. People sit through 3-hour Avengers movies. People binge 8 hours of Netflix at one time. People will sit through a 4-hour workshop because they paid a little bit of money to pay attention. If you're interesting, people will pay attention. Does that make sense? The people that I'm going to be asking that make sense. And do you agree or do you not agree? Do you have questions for all the people who are on camera? That's why you're on here, because I like to see at least some sort of thing. If you're in the chat and you're not on camera, go ahead and validate me as you can. I need a lot of encouragement. Since we're all on the same page with that, let's dive into the rapid copy method. Like I said, this is going to be a workshop, so I can answer some questions. I can go back and forth. But overall, what I'm expecting is that you guys showed up with a little bit of work to do, and then I can act as we go. And then I'll also be kind of working on something so you can see how I'm doing that thing myself. All right. So step one, research. Research is the big four. You want to hit all layers of the big four. That person just entered 3 times, so we'll see how that works. All 4 parts of the big four, we're going to set a timer for 20 minutes, and we are going to try to flesh out the big four for an individual human being using the resources that we have on hand. For most of you, that's going to be the internet, open up a new browser, all that kind of stuff. You can kind of listen to me. We can be here together. But the other thing is that doing a big four deep dive on an avatar takes a lot longer than 20 minutes normally. So what I'm going to do here is essentially cut straight to the bone, make some assumptions, validate those assumptions as best that I can, and operate from the closest approximation to what I think the big four is going to be for this person, and move forward from there. You can go one of 2 directions with this. You can either choose the person and try to figure out what that person needs in the context of the service or product suite that you're selling. So market focused, or you can be product focused, meaning you brought something to the table, you want to sell something, and starting from the product, you're going to try to identify the best target market, their primals, the market awareness you want to target, and the market sophistication that you want to target. Does that make sense? You got to make one choice right now, market or product. Some of you, most of you, if you've done the pre-work, already have something like that, right? You're sitting ready to write. And if you don't have that, take some time right now before we start the thing, and I'm kind of explaining things to make sure that you decide market or product. And as we go, I'm going to be going slower than you guys can, because I'm going to be answering questions. I'm going to be showing examples. I'm going to be bopping around. Just keep in mind that if I get distracting, then you can take your headphones off and you can work for that 20 minutes. You can have your own timer for 20 minutes. And in general, we're all going to meet back here and talk about the next piece, which is headlines, after that 20-minute block is done. So right now, choose if you're going market first or product first. And then we are going to start doing the active research, and you can follow along with me to see how I cut to the bone on those 4 important pieces of the big four. All right, this is where I'm going to stop recording real quick. So I figure out where that is.